I want to begin with a brief disclaimer that this isn't the typical video I put out. There's no click your own oven break content, no gameplay here. This is purely discussing an important issue that's been raised in the community today. And so if that's not what you're here for, you can feel free to skip the video. Today, Dev Sisters made an announcement on their future plans for games and other services related to Cookie Run. And one of these is an announcement that they're going to start making NFT-based Cookie Run art. Now, this has spawned a lot of controversy. I haven't met a single person in support of this idea. There's currently some review bombing, some trending Twitter hashtags on the topic. And so I made this video to really help you guys understand why this is such a big deal. Really, the most important question to answer here is, what is an NFT? So if you're like me, you've never heard about this concept before. Today was the first time I've heard about this, but after doing some reading, it is really as bad as people say, if not even worse. So you may have heard of its more popular older cousin called cryptocurrency, or Bitcoin, or Ethereum, whatever you're more familiar with. These cryptocurrencies, without going into too much of the technical details, offer a new way to make payments. So instead of banks tracking all the different transactions and payments and receipts, it's now this collective network of computers. And the people running these computers get rewarded for it. For example, with Bitcoins, that's how the entire economy there works. But that's not what we're focused on here. Here, what's important is that these computers that are maintaining it are consuming unimaginable amounts of energy. Basically, to give a quick summary of why, it's because to maintain it, they have to crack really difficult encryption using trial and error mostly, and there are probably thousands of supercomputers running just for the sake of keeping all these cryptocurrencies afloat. Now, there's a lot of political and economical discourse to be had around this topic, but really the only relevant point to make here is the point about environment. The energy that these computers consume does not come out of thin air. It comes out of burning fossil fuels. It comes out of oil. It comes out of all of these horrible things that have contributed to the global climate crisis that we're facing. And the reason people are so up in arms about this NFT discussion is because NFT, just like these cryptocurrencies, draw from the same backbone of using these computers to solve encryption problems, to keep this entire process running without a centralized bank, essentially. And in doing so, they consume enormous amounts of energy just to be able to give you a receipt and just to be able to tell you that you own something. And I remind you that this energy is not being used in a useful manner, at least not in my opinion. It's not being used for transportation. It's not being used for agriculture. It's not being used for any of the essential processes that we need to be healthy and productive. You see, the point of NFTs is you can buy some online media. This ranges from JPEGs to videos and has recently been popularized for selling art. However, unlike traditional avenues for purchasing art, an NFT doesn't actually give you anything tangible. If I had to summarize it, what you are getting is bragging rights. Because unlike buying art through other methods, you don't actually get it shipped to you. You don't get exclusive download rights. In fact, anyone else can go and screenshot or right-click the thing you have just bought as an NFT. As the owner, you are just awarded the knowledge that you are the cool dude or dudette that in some weird, intangible way can claim possession over it. Now, this doesn't paint a fantastic picture of NFTs, and that is intentional. You see, everything I've just said would be fine, admittedly a little strange, but fine, if not for the knowledge that a prerequisite of this form of purchase is the melting of icebergs, the rising of sea levels, extreme weather conditions, and everything else we know to associate with climate change. You can, of course, form your own opinion, and I encourage that you do. I will link some resources on this discussion in the video description, but the bottom line really comes down to, is it worth it? Are bragging rights really worth the health of our planet? Knowing all of this, you may wonder why Dev Sisters chose to support NFTs in the first place. I think the answer to this is not incredibly profound and not very interesting. It's just highly lucrative. Creating an NFT is inexpensive, and since NFTs are all the hype right now, they can mark up the prices tremendously. As a business move, this makes sense. As a member of society, not as much. So, what can we do about this? Things are already being done by many members in the community, including protests, review bombing, sending tickets to their support, and expressing their thoughts vocally so that Deaf Sisters does not have an opportunity to ignore it. They have already acknowledged the issue, and hopefully they will quickly discover that NFTs will not be supported by this community. I'm personally very proud of today and how vocal everyone was about this issue and how strong they held on to their ideologies. I think that's what makes this community great, and I hope Deaf Sisters will share in our ideology.